my mother, she is not herself. Dementia has taken her somewhere else. How can I tell her how much I care when every memory isn't there? I wrote the poem a few years ago when I didn't seem to be able to reach my mother at all, and as a child growing up, Mum was a singer and a great communicator, and we were very close. Her dementia meant she could no longer communicate, and the poem was written out of a deep sadness at the time. Mum is in a really happy place now on so many levels. I can even tap into some memories and get a verbal, musical or emotional response.
How people living with dementia behave is a result of who they are. Their personalities are often shaped by the events in their life before dementia. That's why we must get to know them, each individual and their story, so that we can provide the best care we possibly can. Pam Davis has worked with people living with dementia for over 30 years. She is a specialist educator with Alzheimer's Australia, New South Wales.
There is no one formula for understanding behaviours associated with dementia. This is because dementia is just describing a set of symptoms, which can include things like memory loss, difficulty thinking clearly, problem solving or language difficulties. Dementia is progressive and degenerative and actually affects a person's ability to perform everyday tasks. This means dementia does not refer to any one condition. I believe in order to help those we care for with dementia, we need to think outside the box.
To understand behaviours and psychological symptoms of dementia, we are going to identify behaviours commonly associated with dementia that may challenge staff, explore the reasons behind these behaviours, implement short-term solutions to respond to episodes of behaviour that ensure safety for all.
One of the greatest challenges for us can be displays of aggressive behaviour.
I don't want to go.
Like verbal abuse,
Belt off.
lashing out, physical violence or even damaging property. Sometimes the causes behind aggressive reactions may not be obvious.
You two animals over there can disappear.
So we really need to dig deeper.
When you're responding to aggression, try not to invade their personal space. Stay calm and reassure the person. Never touch a person who is being physically aggressive. And never allow yourself to be in a position where you can't leave immediately.
George came to us and he was one of our most aggressive residents. We were really at a loss to know what to do at first. He would be very aggressive whenever you tried to do any care with him. George would lash out, he would push you away, he would grab you, he would grab onto his clothing and resist being helped, and he would just generally be very aggressive. So it was a very difficult situation. We needed to find some way to make life easier for the staff and make George a much happier man.
It's important to remember that the behaviour is always a response to the situation they find themselves in, or the way they perceive they're being treated.
Every individual is different, so there can be many different reasons for behaviour that appears aggressive. But often that behaviour is a direct result of fear. People become fearful when they don't understand what's going on around them or what's happening to them. A person could be in pain and be unable to communicate and express it. They could be unwell, For example, they could have a UTI. They may feel frustrated at being dependent on others, and they may not be able to control their emotions.
We didn't have a lot of information about George. We knew he was British and that he loved Liverpool Football Club because he had come to us with his Liverpool scarf. He was a sporty man. And then one of his relatives came in and let us know that he'd been a singer and really was partial to crooning music, and his favourite artist was Nat King Cole. We realised that anything red and white made George respond. So obviously he was so fond of his football colours. If we made mention of the football team and associated the red and white, he'd be very happy and he'd be very friendly with you. An interesting thing with George is he loves to dance, and if you put on music and you offer to dance with George, he will absolutely take you up on that offer and spend that time dancing with you. We also thought that George really didn't know what time of day it was and was really resistant because he didn't know what we wanted to do. And so when we tried to get him changed for bed at night, he didn't know it was bedtime, and he really didn't want to go with strange people and have all his clothes removed and have his pyjamas put on. So we decided we would wear our pyjamas as well, so George would get a visual clue that it was bedtime.
George, are you ready to come and get ready for bed?
Should we go and get your jammies on? We've all got our jammies on. And that worked wonders. All of a sudden George realised, oh yes, well I'll put my jammies on because you've got your jammies on too.
Did you have a good day today, George? You did? I saw you outside.
Interestingly, when we started wearing the pyjamas for George's benefit, we discovered that there was a great benefit for not just George, but the rest of our residents in our facility as well. Everybody was really keen to go and get their pyjamas on. A lot of residents who were hesitant to get changed in their pyjamas because they didn't think they could come back out of their room were now happy to go and get their pyjamas and their dressing gown on and come back and join the rest of us in the lounge room to watch TV or play cards. So that worked really well. And George has gone from being one of our most aggressive residents to being probably one of our calm and happy settled residents.
Continually walking about can be another common behaviour with dementia, and it may be distressing for other residents and families. Imagine someone walking into your private space and touching your things. It's also a challenge for staff if a person walks into inappropriate places such as kitchens or administration areas. They might even attempt to leave the care home. For a person with dementia, walking about can also be physically exhausting, leading to dehydration, weight loss, and falls.
Well, a resident that comes to mind with walking about is Joan. We have to surmise that she's trying to go somewhere or possibly get home to familiar surroundings, because she does go up to all the doors and she'll knock on the doors and rattle the doors, just trying to get them open and trying to find a way to keep going in the direction she's going. When Joan's walking about, however, she does walk in and out of other residents' rooms, and she picks up things from one room and deposits them in the next room she goes to, and so other residents' belongings get moved around the facility, creating a challenge for staff to sort of find who belongs to what and put them back where they go. Another resident that comes to mind with walking about is Flo, and her walking about is round, trying all the doors and asking people, how do I get out and what time does the bus go?
No, I'd go home.
No, you're going to stay with us in room 96. You've stayed in that room before.
Oh, I haven't.
You come and have a look with me. Come and have a look with me. I'll show you.
A common belief is that a person living with dementia is walking around with no purpose. The truth is, the person usually has a purpose. It's just that we don't always know what it is. Perhaps they've forgotten where they're going or became sidetracked. Stopping a person from walking about freely, however, can be more upsetting for the person and potentially counterproductive, often causing agitation. There are many reasons a person living with dementia will be walking about. It could be the person is in pain or discomfort, is confronted by noisy environments, is experiencing side effects from certain medications, is restless or agitated, disoriented and unsure where they are. They could be bored, they could be hungry or thirsty, or they could simply want the exercise. Or, as in Joan's case, searching for someone or something from their past.
Joan lived on a plantation all her life, a huge plantation where she had a lot of space and would walk about all day, checking the crops, and generally just was an outdoorsy lady who, from all accounts, when speaking to her family and friends, never sat still for 5 minutes and really didn't spend much time inside at all. So now we have Joan walking about all over the facility. She just cannot sit down. If you try to sit her down, she'll say, "Oh, no, I'm in too much of a rush. No, I haven't got time to do that." And she'll push you out of the way and keep walking. We don't need to speculate so hard on why Flo is walking about, because Flo will actually tell us why she's walking about. She wants to go home. She wants to either go home to the kids or she wants to go home to her mum and dad. And she knows it's getting late. She's aware that it's getting dark outside and she's got to get home. We do have a lot of trouble even getting Joan to settle at night. We've tried lots and lots of strategies, and Joan likes to have company of other people, so she just isn't able to settle in her own room at night and go off to sleep. So our strategy has been to settle her down with the staff at the nurses' station. We pop her into a chair and lay her back a little, and she'll doze off to sleep. And when she's asleep, then we can wheel her down to her room and gently just wake her up, stand her up and pop her in her bed. And we've found that that strategy works, and then Joan will often sleep through the whole night. When Flo's walking about and getting anxious, we take her to her room, where we've already put on her personal slideshow of all her favourite old photographs of family and friends and her trips away and things like that. And we sit her down and talk to her about what's happening on the screen, and she will actually identify with those photos and tell you who's in the photos, where she was. She'll say to you, "Oh, there's my husband and my daughter," or "There I am dancing when I went on a cruise." So she's able to actually identify all those photographs and all the loved ones and people in there, even though she really doesn't know where she is at this time. So it changes her mood, totally changes her mood. She becomes happy, she's enjoying those memories that she's looking at on the television, and will eventually settle down. The staff don't even need to stay the whole time. If you can sit with her for about 10 minutes chatting about the photos, Flo will then be happy for you to leave, and she'll sit and watch until she's ready to get up. And when she comes out of her room, it's a new Flo. She's happy and settled.
Other strategies can include minimise the risk by ensuring shoes are suitable, making sure the environment they are walking about in is safe, avoiding making any changes to their environment, like rearranging furniture, assessing for pain as they are walking about, acknowledging and calmly reassuring them. Distraction and diversion is often a successful strategy.
People living with dementia can sometimes become very suspicious, accusing staff, relatives and other people of stealing their personal possessions, such as jewellery and cash.
Sometimes the missing item may not actually exist. However, you need to investigate thoroughly.
Hillary's forever accusing people of stealing her wallet. Any black wallet she sees, doesn't matter who's got it, if she sees they've got a black wallet, she will say, "Nurse, that lady has stolen my wallet."
That's my wallet. No, it's not. It's mine, isn't it? Of course it's mine. It's mine. This is my wallet. Mine. You can't have it.
We don't really know why she's so concerned about a black wallet. We can only surmise she did have a black wallet at some time. So what we've done as a strategy is give her her own black wallet with her name inside so that we can actually produce that black wallet and say, no, here's yours, you must have just left it over here on the bench. Mel's a resident who's very possessive of all her things. She's very possessive of her wheelie walker. Mel's very accusatory and will accuse other residents of taking her wheelie walker when in actual fact they're pushing their own, it just looks similar. Mel's also very possessive of her best friend Gloria and doesn't like it if other residents sit with her friend, talk to her friend. She's very possessive of Gloria in most ways and has to have Gloria sitting with her at the dinner table.
Mistrust can make the person feel frightened. They can accuse family of abandoning them or conspiring to sell their home and possessions. They may even refuse medications, accusing staff of trying to poison them.
The doctor's ordered it for your pain, Hilary.
No, you're trying to poison me.
It's going to help you with your
We
pain.
must always assume the feeling and emotion they are experiencing is very real to them, and the behaviour is a result of that reality. Think of behaviour as a form of communication. People with dementia can be taken advantage of, and in some cases the accusations may be based on fact. So it is important that staff report, investigate and document any accusations. Never dismiss any of the accusations just because the person is living with dementia.
The person could be reliving an event they've experienced, such as they may have been abused, they may have had things stolen from them, or even lived through wartime.
We have learned from Mel, she's actually spoken to us about this many times, that Mel had a daughter that was taken from her when she was born and adopted out, and I think this has distressed Mel throughout her whole life. There was a happy ending to that story insofar as many years later the daughter managed to get back in contact with Mel, and they are now in contact and have a pretty good relationship. One of the strategies we've used is to tie a very identifiable scarf onto Mel's wheelie walker as well as labelling it. But Mel knows now that that's her walker because of the scarf, and that alleviates her stress often, and she doesn't make as many accusations now as she used to. If Gloria is sitting in a lounge chair and other residents are beside Gloria, if possible, we try to avert any sort of stressful situation by kindly asking someone to move so there is a spot for Mel beside Gloria in an attempt to keep harmony.
It's important to remember we should never argue with the person, as this might cause them to become more agitated. And never take accusations personally. Remember, what is happening to them is real to them. Always ensure personal items are marked, such as dentures, glasses, and even wheelie walkers. If there are accusations of family members not visiting, consider a diary or calendar to show when visits have been made and when the next one is due.
She said, I visited and hand-painted her nails. We discovered that Mel was also hoarding and hiding clothing in an attempt to stop us from taking them to the laundry. So staff decided one day we would actually take Mel for a trip down to the laundry and show her how it all worked. But see all those big washing machines?
Who does the ironing?
This was very successful. She was very happy to give us a basket full of clothing that day and let us have the laundry wash them.
The person living with dementia can lose recognised social conventions and norms, which can lead to behaviours that may offend others, such as swearing, saying inappropriate things, or publicly expressing themselves in a sexual manner. Sexual desire does not necessarily disappear with people living with dementia.
We have our resident Fred, who's a very colourful fellow. Fred often touches people inappropriately. As well as the physical touching of people inappropriately, Fred is apt to use very colourful language, which is not acceptable in the situation we're in our facility, and is very shocking to most of the other residents and staff in the facility. Well, we'll ask him not to use that language, but generally that will escalate, and he'll just use it even more because he got a reaction in the first place.
What about a woman with me? Oh, Fred, that's not on the menu tonight.
Fred's a man of the land and has grown up working as a shearer all his life, so spent most of his life around other blokes. And we surmise that Fred actually doesn't understand that this isn't appropriate behaviour, and often we need to remind Fred.
The part of the brain that enables the person to practice self-control may be damaged, so sometimes the person living with dementia can mistake the staff's personal care for physical affection, especially when assisting with dressing and showering, so they believe they are responding appropriately.
We have to actually try and distract Fred and diffuse this situation. We often try and distract him by taking him maybe to his room and sit down with him and pop on one of his bee DVDs. He was a keen apiarist or beekeeper in his past, and on his television he has information videos and documentaries on beekeeping, and also documentaries on farming and shearing, and we can sit down with him one-on-one and chat about those, and that will often diffuse the situation and distract him from the situation where he was using that colourful language.
When a person refuses assistance with personal hygiene, such as showering, toileting and changing of clothing, it can cause added pressure to staff and distress for other residents and family members or visitors.
Fred resists personal hygiene. Fred does not like to have a shower and will go to great lengths to convince staff that he's had a shower, and there's always a good reason why he shouldn't have one.
Well, they said you didn't this morning, so we're going to have to shower you now.
You know what you can tell them?
Staff can ask Fred so many times if he wouldn't mind having a shower, but it's always, dear, I've told you before, I've had a shower this morning and I have a shower every morning. So then if we ask him in the morning to hop in the shower, it's, dear, I've told you I shower at night and I've had a shower every night.
There could be any number of reasons a person might refuse personal care. For example, short-term memory loss might mean the person believes they've already showered, or they may actually prefer to shower in the evening. A person could believe they can do it themselves and resist help, or they may simply feel embarrassed or humiliated by being seen naked by a stranger. Of course, it's every person's right to refuse the activities they don't want to do. But it can be a fine line between respecting a person's wishes and neglect, which could lead to health issues.
We've tried many strategies. We've tried getting Fred to let the male staff shower him. We've tried suggesting that we shut the door and just let him quickly have a shower and then cover himself up again. That worked for a while, but he's become more and more resistive. We've tried telling him he can shower with his underpants on, but he's unhappy with that. We tried a pair of board shorts, but unfortunately still, Fred's resistive to having a shower. We've now realised that calling the help of his daughter is the only way that we can get Fred to have a shower. We can get her on the phone and pop Fred on the phone and he can have a chat with her, and she understands the problem, and she'll basically just say, Dad, you are having a shower, in you get now and have a shower. And because he doesn't want to displease his daughter, he will actually hop in the shower.
There are a number of other helpful strategies you could employ while remembering to maintain their dignity. Does the person prefer male or female staff to attend to their hygiene? Is the person resisting care because they are in pain? Is your approach to that person appropriate to their needs? Would they accept a bowl wash more readily rather than a shower? It is common for people living with dementia to repeatedly call out or ask for the same thing over and over again. Repetitive behaviour can be time-consuming for the staff, as they may have to answer the same question repeatedly, often within a short time frame. It can also be disturbing for other residents, especially when this occurs at night.
Meg's one of our Scottish residents. She immigrated to Australia about 50 years ago with her young family. One of the things Meg does is repeatedly call out the same couple of phrases over and over again. She calls out prayers please, which we assume is something related to her Salvation Army past.
Prayers please, prayers please, prayers please. Please.
And she also just calls out, please help, please help.
Help me, please, please, help me.
When staff attend Meg, she really doesn't want any help. You can ask her, what would you like? What do you need? She says, oh, I don't know. Would you like something to eat?
I don't know.
And really not even aware that she's saying any of these things. Unfortunately, the calling out of please help, affects other residents around her, so we need to find a good way of trying to assist her and settle her. We've spent an extensive amount of time trying to work out exactly why Meg likes to be on the floor. We've spoken to her family, her daughters have no idea. We've tried to assess whether she's in pain sitting up. We've looked for all sorts of ideas, but we just simply don't have the answer why she wants to be on the floor. She simply could be uncomfortable in a chair. We really don't know.
The part of a person's brain that enables them not only to initiate a task, but more importantly, to move from one task to another, may be damaged. So even if you do help by responding to a question, they may be unable to move on to the next task or remember that they have been responded to. The person could be in pain, unwell, hungry, thirsty, or fatigued. If confined to bed, they may be experiencing pressure pain, constipation, or need to go to the toilet. Repeating the same action over and over again, such as calling out, rattling doors, or continuously rocking back and forth, may be a way of trying to express an unmet need, which the person is unable to communicate. Remember, behaviour is a form of communication. They are trying to tell you something.
We've discovered that to give her a head massage is a wonderful distraction.
That's lovely.
She loves to sit and have a head massage and would probably sit there all day if she was allowed. Actually, she just loves staff to, give her a bit of TLC. Another thing Meg loves is to listen to music through the MP3 player and headphones, and that's often a way of settling her and distracting her from her repetitive behaviour.
If a person with dementia becomes more and more difficult to distract, other staff members may be better able to help. One of them may find a connection with the person and help to calm them down. Many care strategies involve meaningful activity, reminiscence, validation, and reality orientation. Reminiscence is used to review past events, which can be quite positive and rewarding for an older person living with dementia. If a person cannot participate verbally in the reminiscing activity, it can still give them pleasure to reflect upon their past. Remember to be sensitive to their reactions and try, if possible, to avoid sad or painful memories. Reminiscing about an absent person or memory can be used to distract a person.
Is that you?
Gently encourage them to reconnect with that person or memory, or direct the person to something familiar to anchor them. A routine, a song, a touch, a favourite activity that may bring fond memories. Validation is an approach to communication that accepts the reality of a person living with dementia.
Who's this? Who's this here?
That's me.
A care person can step into their world, reassure them, and respond to their needs. Reality orientation is about providing cues or triggers that enable the person with dementia to understand where they are, what is happening, and who is around them.
It's too late. They're finished up. It's dinner time now. Look, it's 6 o'clock.
These cues or triggers can come from the environment to prompt their memory. Verbal information can be given, but is unlikely to be retained.
Do you recognise anything in here? I'll shut the door in a minute. I just want you to come and sit down first.
The cues could be from signage, pictures, a calendar of events, reminder notes, or even through the use of a whiteboard.
22nd, Thursday, and it's January. Excellent.
Just remember, the emphasis is not on medication or restraint to control behaviours. You need to understand the reason behind it in order to respond appropriately in a way that recognises and promotes the dignity and well-being of the person. The most important thing about responding to challenging behaviours for a person living with dementia is to think outside the box.